You can face it this way.
Yeah,
Just hang on. You.
Okay. Let's go sing in the microphone.
Just get close. You don't have to sing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rinpoche. Happy birthday to you. Beautiful. It's hard. Bill, can you turn on this microphone, please?
아니,
Am I on, Billy? Hello, I want to welcome everyone who's tuning in around the world, and for our beloved Garchen Rinpoche's celebration of his 84th birthday today. And so many of your disciples around the world are gathered together online to celebrate 84 years. And this is a global celebration of the worldwide Sangha, altogether an expression of our immense love and devotion for you. Through so many prayers and practices that are happening all over the world, we say happy birthday. From all across Asia, Europe, and the Americas, we pray for your long and healthy life. And Ina, if you can translate before I go on, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Tini morang tanga tongkat da chitele shugutunda tananga jambolin kasa kanenga sutacha tone Rinpoche ki kulo gachu gashi tongkanga so tering chitele shuyos teni nganso Rinpoche that teba tang teba chembo konar Rinpoche tene shuyos teni jambolin kasa kane teni nganso melam gyapen yamran chingos Kasa kana sharsot na Europe tani America na so Rinpoche kutse ringbo then tani kutse tempo so tinemela yagios.
Ago, you had requested that we recite the 4 lines from Shantideva's prayer from the way of a Bodhisattva, and I'm happy to report that already, because of your students around the world, their worldwide effort, 10,334,983 prayers recitations have been completed so far. And continue to practice as best we can, as you have instructed us to complete 100 million recitations to develop the supreme bodhicitta and wisdom, to alleviate the suffering of so many people and beings around the world. It's our heartfelt wish and samaya to realize and fulfill your wishes and become one with your realized mind. May all of your actions of body, speech, and mind, may all of our actions of our body, speech, and mind be the cause of your long and healthy life. With profound gratitude, devotion, and love, with hands folded, we prostrate.
Tini nima niki ngula Rinpoche nga so di chunchuk shiva laki tsik shiti ma tungshu chik tonggo kudo song song. Tini tungshu chiki nang ne ta nang an so bum gyatang sum tri sum tonda shi kupya gyachu gyasum don sabayin nga so chama nyam dong an so sambuling kasa kane nga so nyam do yins. Ting aran so tata na teng sang tu la mi mambo na cha to na chembo yoris ti na cha seva ki chedo tini aran so Rinpoche ki gongba to ya tini aran so tamsik to ya ti ki chedo aran so to yins tini aran so Rinpoche ki tuk sangye dang yam pa chaya ki chedo melam da nyam dong so ti tem ba yins tini nga so ta tela tena melam kya pa tela tene tini Rinpoche ki ko song thok ta ngaran so ko song thok tini yam me pa chaya dang Rinpoche kutse ringbo dang kutse tempo ya ki chedo tini nga so cheba dang teba chembo ko na nga so melam kya yin tini chak chak yos.
Last Trina Rashidile, Trini, Tatrin, the Tuchinde, Panhaga Chica, Re, Makisango, in the Tuchin, the Haja Karchibo Cha, the Tuchin Sandondra Cha. There is a Tuchin Tango de Pari, the Mango would cheap, Yango would cheap your song, Mango would cheap just in the Paris to Chile. Nipala Tini, Hama, Gachiko Pa, Koshiko to change the Shankanga paper to change, young, the Dawan Shokna, Tandi, the child. Listen, Balatini, I am Congo to you as a poor side. That is a Kong Park, Koshiko to Julia, the ring I answer J or a Pamaki, the Chicago, the captain, the Chicago Latini, so Tamchela, the Pima, the Salmango drum, the Comanatini, the Tiawatin, the Coyore, the Teles, your baggy, Maggiba. The Kiage, Kasakan, Zambel, Jacob Mamboke, Tapi, get a lap to Manangori. They come here to him, Tapari, Togichi,
So Rinpoche saying that she deleg, and so today everyone is gathering for my birthday, considering it as very important. And indeed, it is an important day because there's actually 3 very special occasions coming together on this day today. The first one is that it's the 25th day, which is the 10th day of the waning moon. So it's the 25th day of the Tibetan lunar calendar, which is the Dakini day. But that's special. Number 2 is that when the previous Garchen Rinpoche passed away, when he passed into the Pure Land, he actually passed away on this day too. It's the 2nd month and the 25th day of the Tibetan month. That's when he passed into the Pure Land or Nirvana. And then third, then probably the light rays of his vast compassion also touched me, because the day that he passed away also became the day when I was born to my parents in this life. So these are the 3 special occasions coming together today, and it's a day where we all together practice virtue, practice the Dharma to bring about the benefit and happiness of others. So it is an encouragement for us to engage in practice, and we engage in practice with a mind of great love. So today, people from all over the world are coming together to practice vast virtue, and for that I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Then Sanjay Yungti, Sanjay Sebela, Tashi Tabi, Sanjay Simar Yore. Then it Sunam de Sanjay Shimla, Sunam Tashi told the Bosa the Lunga is of Gita, Gary Drumming, Trinity Sanjay Komatoba, Ya, Medave, Sami Parona. This Sunam de Chim Bom Dong Chai, this Sunam Jerchebo, this circuit of Monam, simply some take a Tokyo. This is the Dilim Datam Jiggy, Yameda Puna, the Makatana, I did the Pogade, Kata, Chungung, Kapta, the cook, project, the Koran of Battery, the Katamaji over it, the Kata, the thing that Tashi or then you get any more than things like this. The uncle some good tragedy or even the Kata, the Sashimori, the Tigara, so what time till relatively object Sunam, the Chimbati, Kadaka Bore, the provide hinge.
And so then we're always making this offering of a white kata, which is offered up to the Pure Lands, and then also offered to the benefactors of the teachings. And what's the meaning of that? Now, we speak about the accumulation of merit for the sake of all sentient beings. So what is this accumulation of merit? It says that grant me the empowerment of enlightenment in a single life, which is the endless accumulation of merit. So attaining the state of enlightenment, that is the greatest merit. And now when this kata is made as an offering to those benefactors and so on, they have accumulated endless merit. So the quality of Buddhahood, of enlightenment, is the Buddha has the qualities of the major marks and the minor marks, and that is represented by this katak. It also represents the 8 auspicious symbols. So that is a representation of merit. So we need both accumulations of merit and of wisdom, and whatever we do, whatever virtue we practice with our body, speech, and mind, we do it in order to attain the state of enlightenment. So therefore it becomes a mandala offering. It becomes an accumulation of merit. So when we offer a mandala, for example, the merit multiplies by tens and hundreds of thousands of times. And then whoever makes a prayer with that accumulation of merit, this aspiration will be received by all sentient beings. And so that is the purpose of always making this offering of a kata to the students, to the benefactors, and so on. And it's a Tibetan tradition to make this kata offering. It also represents the freedom and purity and merit represented by the 8 auspicious symbols. So it represents the goodnessness throughout the 3 times of day and night at all times. So it is very precious. And so for this reason also I would like to make a white kata offering offering to everyone for my birthday. And so this white katak that I'm offering you again contains the 8 auspicious symbols, representation of great merit.
다 등상들이 대답을 동해 주작관 잡으려는 용나 동해의 가르게 종말에 자와 강림 종말에 이 동해의 새로 타고 가래래 내가 지니 제가 민정제가 오 코바는 민정제 레좀제를 이치기가 고각 챔버요래 근데 저도 좀제는 싫어서 못한 거요 말이 들이 다다 라리 속들마지 나나 강송아 동네 말을 답된도래 정성 나진게 체더니 먹게바 레니 좀데 다다다다 소제네 들이 도산에 약합 마만 잡으는 마 당시 소속 다도 좋지네 들이 유모를 내만 보사 들이 제르더니 들이 내 목숨 그까봐 막 등방 보청오래 들이 다다 동시 탐지가 싸워도 나디는 유모 받지네 들이 유모를 내 싹신신 들이 수장 잡나 잡아 데라더니 잡매바지 뭐 잡매바지 심지삼지 잡매바지 되게 쪽탑용을 약하고 쪽도고요 민족도고요 막 다다다 수다 쪽도 레사 참시 쪽만 탑 들이 쪽은 탑 강이잖아 탑이 이제 다 잡지도 막 감이 들이 탑에서 사지 좀 되게 따등에 제일 쪽은 탑 직송 받아서 강이 잡지도 막 탑이 잡지도 마시 받은 좋다 되어 가리잖아 오, 그 상속세고 잡고 그랬어. 상속세고 잡았더니 니만나기, 드니 강에 레당 유모벌 탄 드리랑 그 사제 공방토 마토 받드 드리 동해를 잡아야 용어. 제가 내가 잡았더니 고접 상속세 드리 타토 잡아 동탐 상속세 사제 공방토야 요바티. 때문에 고쳐서는 틀리지 남자문데 터에 오 다지 남대 당내래 세들이 줄이지 제가 고감상 버래 뒤등 삼모야 보통 거래
So today, on my birthday, the disciples all over the world, from around the world, are accumulating a lot of merit. And actually, there's also a gift that I would like to offer to you on my birthday. So what's that gift I would like to offer to you? It's the gift of Bodhichitta. And we always speak about Bodhichitta. And now, in particular now, when we experience disease and so much suffering, we need to ask, why does this happen? What is the root of this disease, of all this suffering? And what can we do to clear it away? And so now normally we speak about the need to cultivate renunciation to samsara and trust in karma. And this is actually a great opportunity to develop this trust. On an ongoing basis, we always speak about karma and karma. We say much about karma, but we don't really think so much about it. In the 37 practices, it says, all suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own happiness. So it all comes down to self-grasping. Every single person in the world only thinks about me, me, me all the time. That's most important. Every person in the world considers themselves as most important, and due to this, they develop many afflictive emotions, and based on those, they accumulate a lot of negative karma. And so now, in previous times in this world, there have been many what is called aeons or time periods of disease, of famine, and of weapons of war. And all of it comes down to self-grasping and the afflictive emotions. And when they are present in the mind, then no one can really actually protect us. So therefore we speak about all sentient beings being without refuge, being without protection. Because once you have accumulated karma with those afflictive emotions, no one can protect you. But then what is our real refuge then? That is what we learn in the refuge vow. The Buddha said, I can give you the method. So here in this context of the refuge vow, we are being taught the method. And then what is the result of that method? What really protects you ultimately is bodhicitta, which is like the sun that clears away all karmas and afflictive emotions. But until we attain the state of enlightenment, we will not be completely free from suffering. But temporarily, we are protected by the relative bodhicitta, and ultimately, we are protected by the ultimate bodhicitta. So our sources of refuge, the three jewels, have given us this excellent path. And now we shall cultivate trust and really recognizing this excellent path that we have obtained. So this is an opportunity for us to develop such trust and to reflect upon this.
산적시대 동아미 송슴 동네니 동대들이 사람 매 동네 포지션 동네 저거 동아 대답지 양들이 동네가 저때 다디는 뉴모 봐야 하고네 그때 나랑 그 산이 따다다 니가 촉지가 돈받으니 야들이 돈받아 가자 아침 보면 봐 다시 저때 촉을 그때 따다 뭐 부지냐 보여래.
So everyone wishes to experience happiness, but if we do not create the causes for happiness, then we have no freedom over the experience of happiness. Because once the result has ripened, on the basis of the result, we cannot achieve freedom, and we are bound to experience suffering, and there is nothing that anyone can do about it. So the Buddha taught that we must achieve freedom on the basis of creating the right causes. So therefore the Buddha had said, do not commit any wrong. So that is when you refrain from causing any harm toward any sentient being with your body, speech, and mind. So when you abandon harming others completely, that is the essence of the individuation vows. And then on top of that, if you also wish to attain enlightenment, you need to cultivate the altruistic mind and its cause. So that is the essence of the Bodhisattva vow. So the Buddha said, practice perfect virtue, perfectly practice virtue. So what is a perfect virtue? What does it mean? So when we practice perfect virtue, as a result, first we attain birth in the 3 higher realms temporarily, and also we have the freedom to attain this birth continuously until we ultimately attain enlightenment. So the perfect virtue that leads to that is bodhicitta, is the altruistic mind. And that is the essence of the bodhisattva vow. For vow, ultimately you attain the state of enlightenment, of Buddhahood. So Buddha is actually the natural state of your mind already. All sentient beings are actually Buddhas, but they do not recognize that because they are obscured by the dualistic grasping to a self-other duality, because they are obscured by this ignorance which leads to a heap of afflictive emotions. So we are filled with attachment and aversion. And these afflictions are like a mountain of ice, and that leads to a lot of suffering. So to practice perfect virtue means to cultivate the altruistic mind at its basis, to cultivate the basis of the altruistic mind. And when that perfect virtue is accomplished, first you attain birth in the 3 higher realms temporarily and continuously, and ultimately you attain the state of enlightenment. So bodhicitta is your refuge for all times, temporarily and ultimately. So that is the root. So therefore the Buddha said, then perfectly tame your own mind. That is the root of taming your own mind. So when the dualistic grasping in the mind to a self-other duality is tamed, you realize the ultimate bodhicitta, that is the non-dual nature of self and other, and you attain the state of enlightenment. So actually, all sentient beings possess Buddha nature, but they do not recognize that because they grasp at a self-other duality. And so, therefore, we have this great variety of sentient beings in the 6 realms of samsara. Some are as large as a mountain, and some are as small as water particles. all of the beings in the 6 realms have this body, which causes them to suffer greatly. And now, in these days, we have an actual experience of such suffering that we all understand. And the root of this suffering is self-grasping and the afflictive emotions. That is what we should understand. And so now at this time, then we recognize that by knowing karma and knowing what to do and what not to do, through understanding karma, we recognize the preciousness of bodhicitta, and that it is our own greatest benefit and also leads to the happiness of others. So bodhicitta is so important, and it is said in a text called the Ocean of Samadhi, if there is happiness, it is the grace, the kindness of bodhicitta. It is because of bodhicitta, for example, that you have practiced generosity and ethical discipline and patience and so on. And also, when you suffer, you remind yourself of bodhicitta. Now, when you think about the suffering of all the sentient beings in the 3 lower realms, and also the suffering of the gods and the humans in the higher realms, such as the suffering of change and so forth. So when we suffer, we bring to mind that the root of all this suffering is self-grasping and the afflictive emotions. And so then, to avoid suffering, we take a vow. And this is the vow, which is really the basis of the 260 kinds of vows that exist. And so this is what I wanted to introduce you today.
대회는 다다 산적 셈들다 진체매가 해그 요래데 예능 송내는 산적 성문이 저동고 산적 성문 좀 마시 오 대산제마 또 매와즈래데 대마레 셈데 요리 sen지 남도 산제 셈데 요리 종대들이 산적 셈데 니지람지 돈이 산제 기반도 돈이 람지 니지람지 요래 벨은 작성거랑 이제 다디는 거는 들이 작성의 쇼니 들이 뭐 탐지는 제와 차를 처리는 제와 차를 들이는 제와요 봐 인피로들 동아 작성은 제 쇼는 들이 사다 저 미터 거에 맞는 베스트다버리 인피로들이 미송 들이 인피로들 가왔네 들이 마다 버거 발은 내가 요래 대회더니 판마마 제바 직장매로 만나고다 냐면 산적세 맞지와라 산적세 지나 나 등에매 완도도 마지나 등에 차야마도 어다 지레 좀 되시잖아 다 대독대 샘도 메도 성다레스 메모다들라 다 기핑로 성나 데라 내가 토린 타토방 저레샤스 어다 난디디 찌불랑이나 다들이 로아를 도리 들이 송선 들이 토리스는 마마 들이 등이 송선데 다저 다딘 오 차도 선에 띵이 벌 sensitive 살롱당 근데 다들 등에 다버라 송었당 등에 탐제대 송아니 뭐래 송와 대고 나타랑 그래서 당신 하고 때 체들의 곰들 저간들 대kom나 오 들이 유모바 등에 다니 제타바 오, 대 유모블레리 레치 등에 잡을래 등에 대화 중대 등에 마명이다 망고요래 이 삼제나 또다 준비해서 가면 받을 레 마사바데 만체서 대다 대응고 세병고 어디 이 대화지 뭐 산적선에서 이때 차와다 마다 버거 바는 듯이 또 차와도 들이잖아 마다 버거 바라 삼제시 등은 삼제리니 들이 마치와 제가 타로들이 사제게 들이 다다 산적세 마치나 이 송송단 도와도 동네게 제임바탄 제나들이 내가 타톡이 산제 데베 제임바 다다 보나 전 데와타 데베 저상 데마르 제드나 강 산적세 삼제레스 동네게 저다 타와르 저치 대가리송한테 단지다 탈고 요레스 다지도 차야 요래들 다지도 생구서 요면 당연히 맞을 바래 단단 통야 요말에 다 맞아봐다 신에들 로버트 드바사제게 온장 로버트 메드 로버트 마드니 차처럼 저거 차 들때 매파동 걸 로버트 마드 세보나 처럼 되셔야 요래 오페티 떠서네 제 산쪽선 삼티에 양다는 것을 sem당 맞았나 그래 다 독들이 처럼 침보듯이 시원들이 잡지 쳐다 저와 차르들이 산지에 고마 뒤에서는 산쪽선들 대바이지 치를 땅에 들이 지지는 깝더니 다 따면 잡아내 동행이나 될 뭐는 돈 받는 일 잡나들이 뭐는 백침부 정도요래 들이 산쪽선도 만들었더니 라는 동네를 먹고서 맞아고 들이 동네에 시작도 요마에 들이 대비 돈 받던 들이서 뭐는 잡는 데 받침부요래
So first, we always speak about bodhicitta, but first of all, we need to really recognize what bodhicitta really is. So sometimes people think that, oh, it's something that just the Buddha has, but that's not true. All sentient beings really have that, because we have said all beings are actually Buddhas. So they all have a mind, and whoever has a mind also possesses the nature of bodhicitta and the nature of compassion. The Buddha's mind is emptiness, and that is naturally infused with compassion. So it is just that we have to melt this iceberg of self-grasping, and then it becomes water. And when it becomes water, it begins to connect, establish a connection to others, establish a connection to the ground. So it ripens in this way. The iceberg ripens into water. It ripens through the altruistic mind. And so where can we find this altruistic mind now? We can find it between a mother and her child. And then there's not a single being who has not been our parents. So all sentient beings have been our mothers. When bodhicitta arises in your mind, you become free from all suffering and the iceberg melts. If bodhicitta does not arise in your mind, you will not become free from suffering. So if you understand this these workings of karma, you can see the mind is just like the seed of a flower. Altruism is the seed that grows, and temporarily it is the cause of attaining birth in the higher realms, and ultimately the cause of attaining enlightenment. As long as you only hold on to self-grasping, that will only lead to birth in the 6 realms of samsara, the 3 lower realms in particular. So we go from the higher realms, we go further and further and down. That is the nature of self-grasping. It is like ice. So that is something you surely have to think about. And especially when we experience the suffering that we experience now in this world, we have to think about where all of this suffering comes from. Then you will really understand. So this is now a time where we should think about where it comes from. And when you really understand it, then you will be able to accept the suffering that arises, understanding that it is karma arising due to afflictive emotions. That is why there is this suffering now in this world. And even the slightest happiness that you experience also has its cause. So in this way, you understand the infallibility of karma, cause and effect. It is said that if karma is not created, the result will not be encountered. So even the smallest animal, the slightest happiness that a tiny little creature experiences also has its cause in love. So we need to recognize, identify what is love. So first we need to cultivate the methods to give rise to love where it has not yet arisen. So where bodhicitta, where it has not yet arisen. When bodhicitta doesn't arise, self-grasping will plunge you into the 3 lower realms. If it does arise, it becomes the cause of birth in the higher realms temporarily and ultimately enlightenment. So we always make this prayer, may sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. This cause of happiness is love, is bodhicitta. And then we say, may beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So may they be free from self-grasping. When you're free from self-grasping, naturally you create the causes of happiness. Actually, it is all created by the mind. So we grasp it as self. This perception of this sense of me is also just a creation of your mind. There is no real self that actually exists. You can't find it or see it anywhere, because it is only a temporary arising in your mind. The Buddha therefore said, beings are obscured by temporary or adventitious stains, which is like an ice block. And when that melts, suffering is cleared away. So it is something that what you need to understand here is that the ice can actually be melted. It is something that can be cleared away. And it is cleared away if you never separate from love, from bodhicitta. Then naturally the ice will melt and become one with the vast ocean, the enlightenment. So cultivate such trust and confidence in this mind of love, of bodhicitta, especially now when we experience all these difficulties, this suffering in the world. This is when we need to pray with a mind of love. And this is really the beginning of, like when we even take the Refuge vow, for example, it is said once we have a vow or any vow, our aspiration prayers become more powerful. Now, if we lack bodhicitta, only by thinking, I want to be free from suffering, that alone will not make you become free from suffering. But what you need is a pure motivation that arises from a commitment, which is this vow. So therefore it is said that whatever aspiration we have on the basis of having a vow becomes more powerful.
Langni the Getatumna, Payum Cheva, the Kangasum Bari, Moson Lambage, Roma Kashi, oh, Sachira Mona, but you of them, Ruchi Changi, Pona, Bochi Changa, Mika, Painter Marilla, and go. Tati Teton red, send the chicken Bochi Pati Chang red. Then not there, Doba Langni Tanasini, Japan, Saji Konga Japan song, Saji Ragishali song red, then Japan giving Awang. Rinpoche, Chapachim of Dong Nama Kami, Musasongi, or Domba Lani, Chatham, Domba Neighbor Te, Tela, Fly one with Judging Shivantore, Tesomari. Oh, Domba Sajosim, Doma, the Lani, Domba Chatham Neighbor Tela, the Judging Nathan Jao, Sajid Teshuares. Sajid John D. Chiang take majority, didn't not also Sajiranga Shalisumari. Oh, yeah, data with the Sajiranga Shalisumber. Domba Langni, you get up never tasted Sajiranga Chipami, on Sajiranga Sumari. Till I think it is also Tamchiki, it is a Takam Detta, there is a toxin goni. Come at you to the taste of opinion, European Domba Lama Kabla, market room Domba Lama, Bucket Chala, South of the Romani. So, Bucket Domba Lama, Domba and the back of my South of the Romani, tell us about paying with something much of a song or that at the Tavin the Jai or the Judge. That to watch him so don't Hadong Zachimore, this son, same good Tamja Zoni, Ticalotri, Leka, Jin Jen, Tamja, they gave a ping Jongo also. They were to watch him so young that the stars are a tongue chiva. So there is somebody, they were Doba not tick long the Sarjok, which had the Doba not tick long the Urington Sarjok sent Sanjay Kopamato Padre, Tela tini lunga ga domba te masi padar rab. Temana logic, temana dawati, temani ya took the domalana titi, Carella terang and the sugar tini, domatel nail, till Punte of jungle, telatin, this him top chibugoni, this date of domba tangere, telimponam jamna, tell the bachimo yoati, penna tini, down till masi pionsumari, domba langni tini, me take it, get out of mammy, go butcher. Mammy go kang terang rate. This one nothing say. Oh, Sancho, some but doba lani, mammy go butcher panaya. This Haji Tamji Tagas and Yabet told this one to say, maybe. The charter get a chung chung, that lockable charter. The tailor gong at me, Tata, Sepsi doba name Tamjig, they got doba like they were Mambo Yore. Tamarang yung latang sada lang ito bati ni linsam sin linsam tringo wele tel sanchuk sumbi yung tin tin tri tevel sili doma dalang na ne bati ta yupe tri tel tin tri data so sanchuk sumbi tunjok tela soban ni saje din sik do bata ji so yo monam tamji tri ra ngam monam tam tri ra ji to ni da ji ni yo mare to dang ni tri sep ju bare Simply Tamjirang, Kampasa Lakwasta, Tell Monajan, Kampala, Dewana, three Raga Deva, Yi Deva, Chipper, your marriage, Raji, two, legend of Basso, Teven, three Santos and Domba, Langni, get out of Latini, had a carriage with Jimmy and Bay, three Tatati, three Terrain, Santos and Domare, three Nibab, two goes.
So that is why we say that when you take the Bodhisattva vow, having taken the Bodhisattva vow, then whatever virtue you practice becomes so much more powerful and beneficial. For example, sometimes there is disciples who come to me and to pray for them. And then I tell them, you can also pray. And then they say, but I'm nothing. When I pray, there's no benefit. So it's more powerful if you pray. But that's actually not true. That's actually a mind of doubt. Because our Buddha nature is one and the same. There's really no difference. And once we have taken the vow, the Bodhisattva vow, then we really are the same. Actually, the Buddha himself had also said that when you take a vow, you really become one with the Buddha. My previous master, Geshe Ngabong Phuntsok Rinpoche, bestowed the Mahayana Sojong vows. And so there's this sutra that he quoted from. It is the sutra requested by Indra. And so in that sutra then, so Indra requested, be just like the Buddha. And then the Buddha said, when you take a vow, you take these vows, for as long as you hold them, as you have those vows, you are one and the same. You're one with me. So that is what the Buddha himself had said. And this is something we can also remember here. When we take the Bodhisattva vow and it remains in your mind, for however long, for a minute, for an hour, in that time, you are one with the Buddha. So however long you take the vow for, there's great benefit. And so also when, for example, between a mother and her child, when a mother takes the vow, then it is also received, the benefit is also received by the child, and the child pays homage or prostrates, and then vice versa. When the child takes the vow, then also the mother benefits and prostrates. So the benefits are really inconceivable. There's this text where this quote is from, a text that explains the benefits of taking the Mahayana Sojong vows. And in Taiwan, they have actually translated this text into Chinese. So it is very precious. These Mahayana Sojong vows are very precious. And so when you have a vow within your mind, then whatever you do becomes naturally virtue. And so this is actually a very profound but very easy way to practice virtue. So when we practice any virtue on the basis of a vow, it becomes an easy way to accumulate great merit. A single vow. When you take this vow with bodhicitta, it becomes very powerful. In terms of timing, you take the bodhisattva vow, ideally, until you attain enlightenment. The other vows, body and speech, are taken ideally until you die, for the rest of your life. Or if not, you can take a vow for a year or a month or for just some 24 hours. But the benefits are great, however long you're able to keep that vow. And so you should, once you have taken a vow, your mind becomes powerful. And then whatever action you make with this state of mind becomes very powerful. And so, for example, if someone were to make an offering of the wick of a butter lamp, then it is just this one offering, and this merit will come to an end eventually. But if you make the same kind of offering with having the bodhisattva vow, then it is like making this offering to all of the Buddhas. It doesn't just become one butter lamp wick offering, but it becomes an offering to all the Buddhas. So it becomes an inexhaustible merit in this way. A very small activity that becomes very great due to the power of the vow behind it. So this is the essence of the vow. There's many people in this world who have taken vows, but today we will take it anew. Maybe it's also your first time. So the vow is something that you have to remember throughout the 3 periods of day and night. And so what you need to remember is the quality of bodhicitta. So this is explained in this text on the Sojong vows, which are the truthful words of the Buddha himself. He explains the benefits, the power of taking a vow, and then the power of the aspirations that come on the basis of a vow, or we make on the basis of a vow. And so, but even though we make a prayer for ourselves, actually, or we ourselves make a prayer, actually self and other on the ultimate level are inseparable. On the ultimate level, our minds are all one and the same. It is just like sentient beings are like our hands and our legs, our different body parts. And if our hands and legs, our body parts are well, then our body is well, then you are well too. So this is the simultaneous accomplishment of happiness of self and others, or we call it the spontaneous accomplishment of the purpose of others and oneself. So when you take the bodhisattva vow, and on the basis of that, having the bodhisattva vow, whatever other virtue you practice becomes so much more powerful. So this is the gift I would like to offer you today, is the gift of the bodhisattva vow.
Trinidad samchokchen makiwa kiwa tapsung, kiwa manyamba tap koni koni beva tapsung. Ni samchoksebde tadang so tamrapakami samchedi ima ngunjina, o samchedi te tamje samchoksebe vedri te maibare. Te samchedi tapra jonetini, samchokchen chera tang, mangda tang, tibo tang, te dabo jataba tang yore. Kari te samchedi samchedi 돈바라들이 산쪽신데 따치모이 마시 라그 메카나 삼세요바데 오 산쪽신 떼와지 어때 다다 담마베 가르치거든 데레는 도보는 산이 잡차차래 내 삼세의 용띠니 뭐 하고요 말이 오 데레는 산쪽신 용띠 하고는 도던 잡을 르스게 바라데 라그 삼세 시바데 생 초발했더니 대사 족심이 오 빠지 마치와 제지 오 산족심시바 제와들이 대까지 길을 세바 집어도 오 따따랑 집어도 다 산초선 처럼 무슨 요래. 와 뭐냐고 달 나지 가리는 대를 조고는 산이 나고 차도 뒤 말이 되지 나도 산초선 때 산때 이게 정도도 다 산초선에 저거 다 때를 주바고 요래. 산초선 초 림보치디나 림보치디 강에 네가 평파 토리성을 네가 주면 제반 좋아. 다톡 산지 공방 톱도 받았지. 돈이 저를 때보다 너무 말이지. 이게 너무 따버서. 이게 너무 첩차래 잡사과. 다 산족세대. 대랑게 주라요 봐. 수장 초부터 봐. 샘념도 요래. 초랑 로좀해와. 랑 초랑 받다. 대사버지네. 다 지와 마냥 봐서 다 주바고 요래. 오, 대는 나 소라 받다 산족 샘마다. 这个我谁也过来家谁来的说的们那说了，这个城市也过来，我到这我谁没谁来的，一让我是靠说让不过去，这到哈过了，大上就我们样呗，大多把哈过了嘞，我谁从那上就是不做了，谁从那我绿的出来当然，绿的怕走你上就是这靠上去，大靠了平白说，靠近嘛怕谁没得，我这是一个嘛得来的。 이런 다 코드만 좀 코파마 지요를 들이 마술이 될라서 왔었네. 들이 코를 산속선 람스 진세서 들이 될을 때문에 류들이 저들이 산속선 탑베티 탑데도 정도서 오다 산속 디바 마냥 마지막 디바냐 밤에 봐 마냥 탑들이 다 주바성을 주바가 답고 잡네. 산속선의 지원을 지나가더니 랑성들이 랑땅 맞아를 떠주면 생들 삼지들이 무슨 들이 총총 차월서 차와서 삼지 오 디산속선의 산속선의 문제 들이 세면들 산속선의 대화치 모임에서 가지지를 찍고들 대하고는 다 지원만 봐 마지막지 랑지원데 산속선의 하고 야, 지금 뭐냐 받는 따뜻히 차라통나 다 조등 때는 제와도 통나 이 조디 가르치네요 따뜻하다 라리 소주면은 송하게도 따뜻히 상태지 조디 중디버지는 조디 상태지나 들이 상태도 많이 받지 조디 상태가 뭐 조레스 누가 또 뭐 탐지 누가 거기서 시행해 대다오시는 도바시발 뒤 탑도 산지에서는 오, 다 나고 자토 때 너무 잡 탑대 사디에서 다 투제체 공도 배워서 들이 상하 라드바 냐리지 바 탐지 때 스탑지 도리 들이 삼지 자치 못 동어데 강을지아요 바데 때다 탐지 마지바 찍담에 봐서 들이 만남 카드 연비sem지 탐지서 들이 뒤쪽 sem지 자치 못 차로요 상제께서 오만 비메 홍들 람 sem지 탐지 때 거예요. 대지랑 그 sem지 랑 톱다 다 sem지 다지가 거기 타요 거래. 들이 대삼제 타투가 될 들이 사자시 보서 사제 공부해 봐. 다지님도 혹시 다지님 때 하고는 따지바냐 봐. 공도 배워서 저기 상하도 이제 탑라들 들이서 다 공부하지. 오늘 책상 때 하자 같이 모이면 뒤도다의 sem을 좀에 들이 조금만 다 주바고래시 다디가는 따뜻한 뭐람 가랬답네요. 주습지 사제 탐지 뭐람 똑같이 땅대고요. 제다가지 오 주습지 사제 남카카와가다 만냠들 뭐람 도고요. 말아지 또도 요래 사람들이 세지 같이 보면 뭐라답나. 그런데 사제 사람들이 사족선 공도 빼가 탑 등에 대화를 저 탑. 들이대로 사람들 잡다래. 들이대로 깝들 들이 사족선 도마다 하자 갈치라래.
And so we pray there's these 3 lines where we say, may bodhicitta arise where it has not yet arisen, may it not decline where it has arisen, and may it further and further increase. So ordinary beings, they do not see the connection between love and bodhicitta. And they don't believe that they actually are the same, that when we recognize love, we recognize bodhicitta. So what we need to do in the beginning in order for bodhicitta to arise where it has not yet arisen, we need to recognize, identify love. And the Buddha gave us a method to do so. So you recognize love, and then you apply the methods given by the Buddha to hold on to it, to not lose it. And so when recognizing love happens in the context of taking the Bodhisattva vow, where we recognize how precious love, bodhicitta, is. And so then how you recognize it is that whenever you see anyone, you recognize the love that arises in your mind. This is it, even in an ordinary context. You see someone and love arises. So recognize this to be bodhicitta. So what ordinary people do is that they love their friends, but then today they are a friend, tomorrow they are an enemy. They don't really understand the true quality of love. So today we need to recognize that, this quality of love, that feeling of love that arises, for example, when you think of a friend that you love. So when that feeling arises, recognize this is bodhicitta. So this is bodhicitta, this feeling of love. That is to be recognized in the beginning. So this is first a method to cultivate bodhicitta where it has not yet arisen. It is to recognize love and to recognize how precious it is. And then second, we developed a method, we cultivate the method to not let bodhicitta decline where it has arisen. So as we said, ordinary people, today they are friends, tomorrow they turn into enemies. Things change due to conditions. So to not let bodhicitta decline where it has already arisen means to practice patience. So having recognized how precious bodhicitta is, we safeguard it by all means by cultivating patience. So bodhicitta is called as because it is the only cause for attaining the temporary birth in the higher realms and ultimately man. So therefore, it is like a wish-fulfilling jewel. In fact, it is much more precious than even tens and thousands of wish-fulfilling jewels. And it's something that you have. If it's yours, no one can take it from you unless you spoil it yourself. But if you have it, it is yours. So you do not allow it to become spoiled by practicing patience. You think that even at the cost of my life, I will not give up bodhicitta. This is also actually mentioned in the 37 practices. Even if someone were to come and kill you, you would think that this is my karma, but I must not get angry at that other person who is threatening to kill me. If you understand this, you have understood bodhicitta. Then you know that even if someone were to kill me, if I do not lose my bodhicitta, it's like I'm trading in, I'm selling off my body, I'm trading in my body, and what I get in return is more bodhicitta. So then you would think that may this person, that murderer, be benefited, may he not commit such a negative act. But this person also has been my parent, and I must not have repaid my kindness, his kindness to him. So remember in these moments the Bodhisattva vow. Even if it means that you lose your body, you have gained bodhicitta. So this is the method to not let bodhicitta decline where it has arisen. So that method is patience, to hold on to patience by all means. And if you hold on to patience, bodhicitta will be with you in all future lifetimes, from lifetime to lifetime. So it's something that you have and nobody can take it from you. As long as you don't give it up, it will not give up you. You will always have it. So recognize this feeling of love when you see a little animal, for example. Recognize that this is bodhicitta. So first recognize it. And what you recognize when a feeling of love arises is that you feel very, very happy. So the nature of bodhicitta is great bliss. So first, for the method to cultivate bodhicitta where it has not yet arisen, recognize that this feeling of love is bodhicitta. And second, to not let bodhicitta decline where it has arisen, you must practice patience. For example, if you have a companion, a friend that you love very much, if you love that person, you want him to be happy, and you feel that whatever he does that makes him happy, that is fine. So that is also mentioned in the 37 Bodhisattva practices. Always remember the good qualities of your friend. Love. Never think about their faults. So this is the method to cultivate love where it has not, to not let it decline where it has arisen. It is to practice patience. And a loving friend is your support to cultivate even greater love. And anyone who causes harm is a support to practice patience. So this is the method actually given by the Buddha. And so with this mind, with this understanding, you take the vow with the commitment, I am going to hold on to this excellent method given to me by the Buddha. So you feel grateful, you feel a sense of gratitude toward the Buddha. And then third, there is the method to further and further increase bodhicitta, and that refers to the practices of secret mantra, the visualization of the deity, and the mantra recitation. And so from the perspective of this practice, love becomes, as you continue this practice, love becomes greater and greater until it becomes really vast and boundless. Because you recognize here then that there is not a single being who has not been my mother. So there's all mother sentient beings. And the more vast your mind towards sentient beings becomes, the more vast will be your love. And so you train in that, for example, every time you wake up, you recite Om Mani Padme Hum mantra, and instantly as you do so, think of sentient beings and remember love. And in this moment, self-grasping is cleared away. And the ultimate love is the state of Mahamudra, is the state of enlightenment, the state where you realize that self and other are indivisible. So the method to further and further increase bodhicitta is refers to the practice as the skillful means of the secret mantra, of the visualization of the deity, and the mantra recitation. So this prayer consisting of 3 lines, that is the meaning of that. And the essence of it really is patience, is to practice patience. So this prayer, this bodhicitta prayer, is really extremely precious. And if you make this prayer, whoever makes this prayer really be one with the aspiration of all the Buddhas after 3 times. So you think that the Buddhas after 3 times pervade all of space, and as you're reciting the prayer, you can think that they are praying together with you. Your aspiration becomes one. So be confident and think that I have the power to do that, to accomplish my aspiration prayers. So recognize here in this context now the cause of bodhicitta, the excellent method provided by the Buddha. It is the method to transform all suffering into great happiness. So it really actually is an inconceivable method. So therefore, at this time, recognize how important the significance of the Bodhisattva vow.
Jumdrela to be simply something dongy, you want the new Mumbaris. In the me songs and the shop sit and Minhang Tabaris. The body trolley, Coton, Tato Sanjay, Combato Sanjay, just trolla your marriage. Oh, don't need the deputy touching in some, the Bahaman of the station, or so eating, or chicken, so eating the same thing of the domain of the second or rest, the was under your rest. So you get young ranger, the daddy run a bit. Data when get to the console, pengy or the same with your town. See why I'm bed, the thing with your wine bed, data one. Captain Italy don't need them doing you get. Don't simply dying in Madraba. Don't get them to Malampasata. The Lani so you Captain Italy don't need them your little such thing without your. The demon doing a tiny zoba. Rajin so doing it something. Number so so the getting or tasted some of the Ramna. Data doesn't junkie or easy. Become such a chest of in song so young. The negative Matong, become double tongue to glory. Data with top for a minute. The young New Zealand Simba didn't know about chat. The Gang check your New Zealand Simba, my but don't need them to New Year's on number Sanjay. They got Chimbo Yore. The data, Tony New Zealand. The Namiti tapped in Madavachi. The when you get my jaws of the Jago, Trovachi, Samba Semigona, the Magilla, young people, Toma in the Otoni is on Dakanga Maritimokan and Doyore. Tabo Trovachi, Samba Semigona, the Trovachi didn't Trovachi with the Tony. Yon, the young one were bringing on your Tato Sanji didn't distinguish we want to get a langore. They did a Tony get under the Santos and Musatini, Santos and Nabani and Jerry or the Tigoni, the little Santos of Doba, Tajiro, you are in the Tatasho and Samana.
So actually, when you first cultivate bodhicitta, it is quite difficult because in the beginning, when you see all that suffering of sentient beings, first that suffering comes to you, to your own mind, and it becomes unbearable. When that happens, remember the meaning of the secret mantra of the Vajrayana. So the compassion that we as Buddhists cultivate is not an ordinary kind of compassion, but it's a compassion that is infused with emptiness, the understanding of emptiness too. So that is where remembering the meaning of the secret mantra comes in. So there's a lot of suffering. Sentient beings experience a lot of suffering. And so the first thing that you should remember is karma, knowing that the reason why they suffer is because of their afflictive emotions. So even though they suffer in the 3 lower realms, you should see those lower realms just like a hospital where people go to get a surgery done. And when they become free from that karma, when that karma comes to an end, ultimately, again, they will become liberated and attain enlightenment. The cause for enlightenment, their Buddha nature, can never become spoiled. It is just that they must experience this particular kind of suffering because they have to purify their negative karma and their obscurations. So this also was taught by the past great masters. So basically, we have 2 sides to that. The first one is that you understand that the suffering that sentient beings experience purifies their negative karma, their negativities in their mind. The second part is compassion. That is not ordinary compassion. But when compassion arises in your mind for those beings, first of all, it benefits yourself because your own self-grasping disappears. And then also your compassion benefits others because you are on the ultimate level already connected to others. the mind stream of yourself and others is one and the same. Your Buddha nature is one and the same. So this is what leads to the compassion that is infused, or the emptiness that is infused with compassion. So there is no separate purpose of self and other. On the ultimate level, you are already one with them, one with others. In the 37 practices, it says, you see suffering just like the death of a child in a dream. So ideally, you see it from this ultimate perspective, or also you should remember the cause of suffering, remember karma, and this will help you accept the suffering that arises when you recognize that it all arises from the afflictive emotions. So think of the lower realms like a hospital where beings have to go to get better. So by experiencing suffering, they are actually purifying their negative karma. So this is how you should view it when you view all of this suffering, because if you approach it with an ordinary person's compassion, it can also just make you completely crazy, and it torments your mind. So do not approach it with this ordinary compassion, but with the compassion that comes also from an understanding of emptiness. So that's very important. So emptiness infused with compassion. This is how you should approach the practice. This is the skillful means. This is the method that you should never separate from. But first and foremost, first at all, you have to cultivate love where it hasn't arisen. And this really means, and that's really crucial, it means that a feeling arises, a feeling of love, of boundless love arises. That has to arise, because if that doesn't arise, then there is really no benefit in meditating on the empty nature of suffering. If you do not have this feeling of love, first of all, and you just think, oh, of emptiness, suffering is empty, then this kind of empty thought turns into ignorance. So it's really important that this feeling of love first arises, and then that becomes infused with your understanding of emptiness. So that is really the ultimate mind of the Buddha. So remember Buddha nature, remember the quality of Buddha nature that all beings still possess, and cultivate compassion, or kind of an understanding of the empty nature of their suffering that comes from this kind of loving mind of compassion, without ever separating from the twofold bodhicitta. So with this understanding, I ask you to please receive the Bodhisattva vow. So this is what I wanted to share with you.
There is also the nobody but Kabinandra, the Monam Japa Kabinandra, the Kadi, the Chukalam Kaja, the Chapdi Yori. You saw that because the Hakan go Sebanagi, Dr. Jimmy by Joyo, some Hakan go Sebanagi, which is Joyo. 3 days monam tadi or 3 chuka nam kwaje the long ja so je de song 3 chuka chaba ta we so de 3 ta ta ji kan mu si chok pa tali ta na chok chok la so ka de sam ji mu si yo re 3 de ta ji 3 song ta 3 ta ta so Dombali Bakani, Sanjay Tamjan Karajo, Tamtari, Sinam Tata, the Sojan Kindi Lobby.
And so now, whether you take a vow or you're making a prayer, at times, remember that the Dharmakaya abides like space, is always present and all-pervasive. And if we supplicate to the Buddhas, it is just like we are opening up the temple doors, and then we can clearly see them. So, but actually we should know actually there. They're always here. So the Dharmakaya nature is like space, but Sambhogakaya is like rainbow in the sky, and the Nirmanakaya is like the rain falling down, actually manifestly appearing in this world. For example, there is the manifold Nirmanakayas, or there is the created kayas, and so forth. So the Nirmanakayas are actually manifestly here in this world. So now in this context, when you're taking the Bodhisattva vow, therefore again think that all the Buddhas are here in space. And so for that, I will first read the invitation of the field of refuge. So what Rinpoche just recited was, may the entire earth become a pure place, devoid of barren land, even like the palm of a hand, the color of lapis lazuli, and naturally smooth. Protect us of all sentient beings without exception. Deity who destroys horrible demons together with their hosts, knower of all things without exception, conqueror, please come to this place together with your retinue. And to you in the vast blissful sphere, I offer fertile 100-petaled lotuses, equal in number to all billion world systems. Thus I beseech you to be seated in whatever way is pleasing, whatever slight virtue I have accumulated through prostration, offering, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and requesting, I dedicate it all for the sake of complete enlightenment. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma, of the greater, lesser vehicles, and the vehicles common to both, and for the sake of all sentient beings, so the wheel-turning prayer. Please repeat.
Sangye chu dong som cho la Sangchup parda da jam chi Rangji toni rab drup sir Sangchup sem ne ji par ji Sangchup chok sem ne ji ji ne Sem jin tham je dak kin rung de nyer Sangchup chu cho yi ong je par ji Dong la pin ser sang je ro pa yo
Dola Pensia Sangye Drupasho. So then in English, I take refuge in the three jewels and reveal each and every wrongdoing and unvirtuous action. I rejoice in the virtues of all wayfaring beings and apprehend the enlightened mind of the Buddhas in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. I take refuge until attaining enlightenment in order to accomplish the supreme twofold purpose of others and myself. I generate bodhicitta, having given rise to the mind of supreme enlightenment. I welcome all sentient beings engaging in pleasing Supreme Bodhisattva's conduct. May I accomplish enlightenment for the benefit of all beings.
Dala lawan sibe da nupar sibe ge tapata tapje jembe parto kubar siba tamje je zo sibe manam khada nyambe semje tamje dewa dan den dongin dan tar nyurdo lana me ba yang lo ba do be zang jo Rinpoche thoba sa de dong kang yin de ta ta ni dang yin ji tam che de sa ba dang ji jie zu gui yo le da da de de jie zu gui yo ma le da ji ba da de jie ka ko yo le de ma jin sang chou chen men yo gui yo ma le da da de kang ni jia ma ma ra ga ha chang tin che ba pa ma de ji jia ji ne de pa chen ni lo ba ji ne de ta ta de ji xin kang de ta ba ma bo yo le Pajiga Pamala the Botang, the Pama Control Langson, Mata Pajava Chair, Data Viore, Data did Dalajo Yogore, Inca Chimbo, Sheng Bo, the Hajan Zia Chiver, Tea, Control Langson, Margaret Sobzang Haston, Tapsity, Joyore, Sheng Bo also, Dato, the Gong with Unte.
So now we come to the actual cultivation of bodhicitta. We read a prayer that is very unique to the Tikkun lineage and that we always recite. So that prayer says, I will cause all mother sentient beings, infinite space, particularly enemies who despise me, obstructors who do harm, and those who hinder liberation and omniscience, to have happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly attain precious, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. So this is very meaningful because normally when we speak about cultivating love and compassion, it's very easy for us to feel love and compassion for our close ones, our family and friends. We can do that, but what we cannot do is cultivate love and compassion for those enemies. So that's very difficult. However, if love does not arise for those enemies, then bodhicitta cannot arise in it. So those enemies actually in a previous life have been someone very kind to you. like your parents or a very dear, and you have failed to repay their kindness properly. And so this happens a lot in this world. For example, between parents and their children, they get angry at each other, and then mother and son, for example, even completely separate and become each other's enemies. And that's very dangerous, because we speak about a very kind of sensitive objects, and parents are one of those very critical kind of objects or fields of reference for us. So when we get angry at them, it violates any of the vows of individual liberation, bodhisattva, and vajrayana that we have taken. So that's why we call these individuals like critical fields of reference that we have to be very careful about. And so this is why we first and foremost cultivate love and compassion for our enemies. Yes, sir. So then please repeat this prayer. And I will cause all mother sentient beings, infinite as space, particularly enemies who despise me, obstructors who do harm, and those who hinder liberation and omniscience, to have happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly attain precious, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. So it is, most people really do think that it is very difficult to cultivate love and compassion for those enemies, and that I just can't do that. But actually you have to really think, when you think this enemy is causing you harm, you have to really think, what's really causing me harm? Even if that enemy were to take my life, if I don't get angry at him, then there is no harm, there's only benefit. But if anger remains in your mind due to this enemy, then with 100% certainty, you will go to hell, because this anger, this hatred is the very seed of hell. If it is in your mind, it naturally will project hell. Hell is, that's the nature of it, just naturally. So actually, that enemy cannot really harm you. What really harms you is your anger. And if you understand that, you will be able to abandon the anger in your own mind, knowing that actually, when the anger remains within my mind, that is what really harms me. It's not really the enemy that is causing any harm. If I keep holding on to the anger against my enemy, I'm actually only harming myself, and there is really no benefit. Even if I think I'm going to harm this enemy and I'm going to, this is going to help me, but it's actually not. What is going to help you is love and compassion. That will help you, and it will help the other person. It will help others. So I must cultivate love and compassion. This is what you should understand here.
다들이 살고서도 말은 저 봐라 대체도 상마 제저 받으려면 해서 개발할 거지 사적처럼 단위 좀지 사지적 공부만 더 받았더니 랑게 루마당지 마치 받으려면 해서 개발할 거서 다 될 팀ber고리 도바 나가강 나게 가리서 들어 소유만 통하지 소유를 유는 통 랍마시 빠라 된den로 들이다라 다와 된체는 적적적으로 송네요 다시 공부 특파팀 소종자들 라가 최종 통하는 게 요래 들이다는 정도 냐마 상타담지 좀바디 들이다다 니자 촉지가 좀바 니네상 흉내라서 바래 들이대 괜히게 요래데 근데 저도 고소 논으로 두고 다 장게서 로야는 그래.
And so next we come to the actual Bodhisattva vow, the engaging into the Bodhisattva vow. And so here first it says, for that purpose I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue until enlightenment is attained. So from now until attaining enlightenment, I will not give up bodhicitta. And then secondly, until death, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue. So that refers to any of the vows that we take from now on and for as long as we live, and however many vows. It could be one vow or 4 vows, or however 8 vows, however many vows. In terms of the timing, ideally you take the vow for as long as you live, or for a year or a month, or even just for 24 hours. It is, as you mentioned before, the Buddha explained the benefits of the Mahayana Sojong vows. So you keep those vows for however long you can and however many vows you can keep. And then thirdly, it says, from now until this time tomorrow, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue. So that refers to these vows that we take for 24 hours, like the Nyingne vows and the Nyungne vows. So this is what we are accepting, the vow that we are taking here.
다들 양sel로야나 교거리 기타는 저 상조 돈을 제바서 상조 선비라바라 대다 레비네바 제빈 로라 펜동도 상조 선네 제진선나 라바라 르마전다 라바죠 르마전다 라바죠 다 양장양的상조 그 펜용로 법장제야 대탐자리 대그다 상조 무슨 조과 상조 선지서
So then next it says, just as those gone to bliss in former times gave rise to the mind of enlightenment and maintained the progressive training of the bodhisattvas, in a like manner, I, for the benefit of wayfaring beings, give rise to bodhicitta and thus engage progressively in the training. So here when we say, and thus engage progressively in the trainings, it refers to again and again remembering and learning about the benefits of bodhicitta. And so this here corresponds to the engaging bodhicitta.
The Jidu goes on, Tachi to some Majatera, Tata Nika Jidu and Yabu in Chitone.
Okay, so please repeat from the first verse before. For that purpose, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue until enlightenment attained. Until death, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue. From now until this time tomorrow, I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue, just gone to bliss in former times, gave rise to the mind of enlightenment, and maintained the progressive training of the bodhisattvas in a like manner, I, for the benefit of wayfaring beings, give rise to bodhicitta and thus engage progressively in the trainings.
다들 토프탑이 좀 토프탑에는 단지 하자다 집어내 계리be 가는 다 상태에서 좀 탑진이지 상쪽인데 소양사란 제약가 라와레데 다 도피지바나 강나 상태 요바들 코로까지 랑나 상태 상쪽에서 돈랑 간도 요래 양나 대마 타데 니자 발마 주바 라브나 대마 사데 니자 발마 주바 드니티 상쪽에서 도바데 양피네 드니타리 서로 이렇게 랑나 사테라 정말로 라니니 상태 라송 다 체인들 내가 토리 내가 타토 니가 라가 속다다고 상쪽에서 제 라송데 된 요같이 보지는 람상들이 상쪽 상세기나 그 상쪽에서 쉬로래 쉐가 타바래 이바인 소라와 인송 그때 소제세 단이 좀 진이 좀 이 상쪽에서 로바 내 특만 보고 봐 동대래지.
So then we come to the actual receiving of the vow, which is the method, and now receiving this method is extremely precious. So remember that when you receive the vow, so it is said that the Bodhisattva vow is actually easily lost, but just as easy it is restored. For example, if there's two friends who love each other, whenever anger arises, actually you are transgressing the Bodhisattva vow. But when that happens, it happens easily, but when that happens, you must instantly restore it. So that's why we say, without letting a day pass by, every single day we have to restore our bodhicitta or bodhisattva vow. So in that time when that happens, remember your bodhisattva vow, and now when you look at the other person that you got angry at, think that this was not okay. Now myself and the other person, we have lost our love. And losing our love means to lose your life force vein on a temporary and ultimate level. Bodhicitta is really your life force. So when it is lost, you should feel great regret immediately and remember love again, restore it again. It is easily restored again. It is just like a golden chain, like a golden garland that is, you can easily break, but you can easily fix it too. So this is why it is so important we say that throughout the 3 times of the day and 3 times of the night, every day we have to renew our bodhisattva vow.
탑지노들 렉소들이 다 톱송상 톱지바들이 가리 톱송들이 탑박을 쏘 톱송 탑박을 쏘다 뉴제가 쏘니 그래 줄을 쏘다 다 되는 거당 님치 바 참매바 다매 체지주체요 말에 뉴제가 쏘는 용화는 말이 누가 나펑도 소리들이 쏘체로 되게 쏘체로래 제라 상쪽에서 쏘니 단징게 로를 두고 그 타고 그 뒤탑에서데 사촉생을 데리 타고 나중에 거기 타고 요래 타로서데 사촉생이 신랑은 생기는 피고 사람이 샷타바데 데이터를 데리 짜지고 사촉생들 때 톱고래 다 탑초도 봐 탑고 탑데 데래지.
So then, when Rinpoche will say "tab," that means this is the method. In response to that, we say lexo, which means excellent. So that is when you then actually have received the bow. And so what have you actually received here? You have received the life force of liberation. So what is the the life force of compounded phenomena? So that is the life force of this illusory body. And that actually, as you mentioned, day and night, continuously, these life forces are interrupted. The illusory body consists of the 5 elements, and now when the life force is interrupted, then the aggregate, this body, diseases, it dies, so life force leaves. But here we're speaking about life force of bodhicitta that liberates from self-grasping, the 6 realms of samsara. So the life force of liberation is therefore bodhicitta. And so it also means that when you die, you should die with a mind thinking, may all sentient beings be benefited. So this is really most precious, and that is why we have to remember it throughout all times of day and night. And so this is really the ultimate method. So now everybody lexo.
또 남과 강은 사제 탐지겠다. 렉소소 공부하다. 되게 니기 오래 되게 주바요 말이. 되게 진짜 단지 자가서 지디게 거래. 공부했던 뒤닥들제요. 매서 발을 톱 다른 산지에서지. 산지에서 다쳐도 다 멀리 톱지 노버지 톱고서 다 멀리 톱어 멀리 동지 좋아해.
So now you think that the Buddhas abide before you in space, and in their presence you have said, lexo, excellent. And so that causes them to delight, to be pleased. There's no better offering than that. So now we will repeat the next lines. And so basically what we are saying is here that now we have having a human body and having found the jewel of bodhicitta, this is really what brings meaning, makes this human existence meaningful. So now please repeat this verse. Now my lives will be fruitful, having obtained, well, a human existence. I have today taken birth in the lineage of the Buddhas and have now become a bodhisattva.
다네 전에 장 렉도스 벨레탑데 규미스 벨렌들라 욕벌 문저테다사세 다심지진 이제는 누버사 빵제 다 이노 접제 빵을 사축스버 도마 창저 사축스버 도마들라 제대게 다 나고 쳐야라 소소거레데 제 탐지는 누구요 말이 심이다 루아이 서부고니 신나 누버사와 설로 누버사와 땅무고 제 탐자체를 yap고 그래 랑게 제네 사와 가리시를 루아에서 사와 가리시나 오 되게 심지 심판도도 심지 누구 독서는 디마타들이랑 강체도 빵 가시 독서가 될 시작과 라서 시작과 제대로 그래 이노 이집지 빵지 디들들이 이미 이집지 저 따뜻벨레 삼대에서 이미 이집지 이노 이집지 빵구상 디답자지 종들이 다 되어요래지.
So then next there is the pledge not to sully the lineage, and So it says from now on, I will engage in action, I will accomplish the lineage, and I will act so as not to sully this lineage. So here we think that I'm going to abandon all harm towards any sentient being. So we've said the essence of the refuge and bodhisattva vows, the abandoning harming others and then accomplishing their benefit. And so there's much to be said about that. There's like 4 kinds of dharmas to be practiced and so on. But really what we should think here, actually the vow that we should take is thinking that with my body, speech and mind, I shall not engage in any activity that causes harm towards others. So that's really the vow that you should hold on to here. So with body, speech and mind, for example, whenever something happens and you feel that, oh, this is going to make somebody upset, or this is going to harm somebody. So you see that, and then immediately you refrain from engaging in that action that would cause upset or harm toward that sentient being as much as you can. And sometimes if you have done something to upset someone, then instantly you should confess that. So these 2 lines here really are the essence of abandoning harming others, and also on top of that, accomplishing the benefit of others. So that is the vow that we should take here. Bodhichitta. Then please repeat. Now, whatever I do, I will engage in actions that accord with this lineage. I will act so as not to sully this flawless, noble lineage.
Jingawa Gombato, Dagger, Joba, some Jingan Roa, the Shekitan, Bada de la Rona, Virginia, Plata Laminas, Gavachi, at the Jingawa Gombato. This is Jidinang Changa.
So then next is causing others to rejoice. So please repeat. Today in the presence of all the protectors, I have called wayfaring beings to realize their enlightened potential. Until then, in order to please beings, I invite them as guests. Thus you gods, demigods, and all others rejoice.
Oh, Pati, Gini Tata, the Javasam Monana, so but Yore, the Tajud Loan, the Sancho Century Marty, Hatan Karchimore, Koto de Yore, the Tata said, Jonathan Ramsey, the Chokis has some tsar, Gondas has some tsar, Triti, Tonti Yang, the Ching or it.
Yingendo Tamji Dongshi Jingirava?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So then there is a prayer coming from Manjushi's Maitreya's aspiration, and there's 4 lines in there, so a verse that we should always recite, which are really the truthful words of Bodhichitta. So it says, dispelling existences in the lower realms, showing the path to the higher realms, leading to the cessation of aging and death, I pay homage to precious Bodhichitta. So those 4 lines should be recited every day, 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening. And so again and again, remember the meaning of these words.
The Hajan Karchimbo, Kangi, Tata Tang, so Jawachimbo, Pastor talk to your marriage. This Zog talk to your marriage. Zog the Jung Ding I already. 샘데 나당 샘이가 딱과 삼제 제설을 요래 깨고 요래 들이 데라더니 라마 교신지 탐제 송당 톡도 자치고래 뒤는 송대가 톡도 도다지 샤는 송거리 나타 라마 탐제랬더니 띵 욕벌에 들 고로 촤차래 욕지 시에요래 라마 탐제가 송다 톡도 욕요래 라마 톡도 사제심이 쪽관에 심지는 피고 삼제때 재미봐 이제 대라서 대반이 돈은 내요래 송당 톡대 딱와 요래 들이 책대 돈은 내가 요래 사제 때 받잖아 이제 받더니 사제 답지 송당 톡대 내가 요래 그걸 좋은 것도 이가 요래 이 대회들이 문에 착착착 산쪽선은 상탄은 들이 뒤숨지 사제 답지를 착착하는지 자꾸 요래 지 책대 양당도 로나 오 다디 미성선이 뒤타봐 당니 때 다다 기는 사족 샘플이사 대화 탐지 사족 샘플가 되지 배는 가보바가 송구요래 네 답치지 용tin이 저스티는 송요래 너가 탐지들이 뉴모를 나디기 뉴모 쪽에 대신 저걸 대신에 사족 샘플 용tin이 맞지 봐요 거래 대전도 로르들이 가도노들이 그 상찰 들이 모나다 들이 내려들이 다다다 상축선배 쭉쭉다는 것들이 생진이 받지 이받지 뭐람 책대 숨어담지 낙각하면 사제담지 냠들 놓고요 샘색 나서기 권이들이 됐다고 사람들이 뭐람 저는 약과요래 그래서 딱 모아서 다치 않게 드리고서 냠들 놓으셔 마시들이 셀로 요구이
뭐가 지지 그래
Yes, yes.
teacher yes okay. So now this is a very important verse to paying homage to Bodhichitta because we always pay homage to our guru and we want to be in the physical presence, but actually the body has really both. It has qualities and faults. So what we really are supplicating to is the guru's mind. We are really connecting to the guru's mind, that is the guru's love. And so it is very important that we consider the guru's speech and the guru's mind as most important and more important than the body. So it is that through the guru's speech, the guru expresses the meaning that is within his mind. So the disciples often like to offer a long life ceremony of prayers, and they're asking the guru to remain for hundreds of kalpas, many years. But actually, what really remains is the guru's mind, the guru's words. And the guru's mind are actually one and the same. It is a wish to benefit all sentient beings. It is a mind of the four immeasurables, and a mind that has realized the twofold truth. So it is therefore important to recollect the Guru's speech and the Guru's mind. And the Guru's mind is expressed, the meaning of the mind is expressed through his words. And so however long the Buddha's teachings will remain in this world, the words, the teachings, and the mind will remain. So the body has faults and qualities. What we are actually paying homage to or prostrating to is the mind of bodhicitta. And by doing that, you're actually simultaneously prostrating to all the Buddhas of the 3 times. So recite these words over and over again, and then think that through this, the lower realms will be emptied, will be brought to cessation. Or as we mentioned in the previous prayer, if I'm happy, it is the grace, the kindness of bodhicitta. Also, Gampopa had said in the 10 qualities of the holy Dharma, he said that a quality of the Dharma is to recognize that all suffering has its roots in self-grasping and the afflictive emotions. So recollect that. Recollect the quality of bodhicitta. Never forget about the quality of bodhicitta. And you can read this verse continuously daily, like a daily prayer, together with prostration. This is the ultimate prostration, really, is to prostrate to bodhicitta. And then there is those other 4 lines that comes from the Bodhicharya Vatara that we have mentioned. And so when you read those prayers, think that the Buddhas are here in this space before you, residing together with you, with one mind, with one voice. So in this way, you should perform your aspiration prayers. And so then now in conclusion, we will recite the dedication prayers.
Pama Gigi Jacob Sumri, Tata Jordan, Jacob Tamjila, Jacob Jato Lekachiva, Tetamji, Jacob the Gitam, Bantamja, Gangi, Kadija, Orang, Jopasuga, Territory, Jacob Samti Chibu Gom, then go to Lekasim, Tamjila Samti Gom, 3 months for Tamjila, Pension Samti Gom, the Tirangi, Nutu Dr. Bettany, Nitang, Jitongi Tamjila, Jobag to Tata. Roram Tumto, the Chena, the Film Chiboyore, Jopasuga, Nakangi Delatini, Kangi di Kabitini, Tajabaton, the Hajapin Chibo, the domain or Zubagongore, the Tibataki the little two the Chachamason Lake, Tanda Chang, Sibitami, doubling the shed out the Chadogre, Jajan, and the main where they have Doba song, the Jabaton, Chacham song, Zubagom, this station, the Tata the Cat del Tegom, the domain the Kitata Basankayori, Zubagom, Teta Chiboyore, the TG, Moram the Tasser, and Yap the Davisho, the Sokan, the Lord Yogi, the Changa in Tori, said Lord Short. Oh,
Yes, yes.
Monam, I talked to Joe.
Manam Chitu Chigore.
Chitu Mayana, you,
Chitu Chigora.
Matsamala.
Chitu Chigore.
Yes, yes.
Gidichera,
Yes.
you get out of the Gidichera, Yam the Lord, then Monam Yam the Lord, Marshall, Romata Jilla. Chang, you are. Conde to some Sata, you beg, doing it, subject and con the genius of your Doji, Jatingo, Gobo, Barisho, Sancho, some Jordan Boje, Jiba Yamba, Meba Yang, only going to Barisho. Sancho, some Banam Jena, Rodon, Tobla Gomro, Gobo, and Kangomba. Simply not them Jorisho. So I took some them writing a bunch of jewelry. Sanjin Nam Ji Yongson did digitally jump on my show. Give up on the Yanda Lama Rami, Chidabala, Long to Sata Lamji Yonzilla Dori. Doji Jago Gombang to show. Comes out Doji Janki Michin. The Chisabe Lama and JJ and Robert of the Mona Kantapa. The last time you don't do Borisho.
So, Rinpoche was saying before that now, at that time, when we make these aspirations, now bring to mind your kind of fields of love, those you cultivate love for, and mainly that is our parents, teachers, and our country. And nowadays, especially the country and the people working for the country that really endure all kinds of hardships for the sake of serving the people of their country, their communities. So cultivate bodhicitta for them, cultivate bodhicitta for the officials, love for the people, and you. Not just your families and friends and all sentient beings who experience suffering. And then whatever extent you're able to help them and be generous to them, whatever is within your means. That is now really a time to practice generosity and to practice patience in the face of difficulties and suffering, but also understand that negative karma and obscurations are being purified through the experience of suffering. Why is it experienced? It is the fault of not having observed ethical discipline. It is because beings are angry and jealous and have accumulated karma based on these afflictions, which now ripens in a form of this suffering. So therefore, keep your vows pure, practice generosity, practice patience. So now those come your support to practice those three virtues. So especially in these days, in the face of difficulties, think that the suffering is purifying negative karma, and it is most important in these days to practice patience. There is those concluding prayers that we will recite in English. I don't know if we should recite it now or we should repeat it. Can somebody tell me?
Repeat. Matsama ye yu marwa. Tathola mambo yore.
Just read it.
Repeat. Good.
Logo de vayan chete chegore.
Repeat. Jidu sigore. Jidu sena yaksaro matsama la yu marwa.
Please repeat. Yeah, so then please, we repeat the dedication prayers. Repeat, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. By the virtues accumulated in samsara and nirvana in the three times, and by the intrinsic virtue, may Chikten Gompo's intention, the boy of Vajradhara, that is the inseparable union of the two truths in the mandala of primordial co-emergent mind be realized. May precious Supreme Bodhichitta arise, in whom it has not been generated. May that which has been generated not decline, but ever further increase. May the Bodhisattvas practice virtue with the exalted mind, seeking the welfare of beings. May whatever the protector's wish be accomplished in sentient beings, not lacking bodhicitta. May beings be inclined to the Bodhisattva's conduct. May I be held by the Buddha's compassion, and may even obstructing activity be dispelled. In all my rebirths, may I never be separated from sublime gurus and always enjoy the glory of the Dharma, having completely perfected the qualities of the stages and paths. May I swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara. May all the aspiration prayers for the purpose of wayfaring beings that have been made from great, beneficent Vajradhara on down to the kind root Lama on up be swiftly accomplished.
Okay.
Oh, through the virtuous accumulations in the past, present and future, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and through this intrinsic basic of virtue, may all sentient beings and I swiftly attain precious, perfectly complete enlightenment. May the teachings of Drikung Paratna Shri, the Master of interdependent abiding, the omniscient Lord of Dharma, who sees all objects of knowledge, be upheld through teaching, practice, learning, reflection, and meditation until the end of cyclic existence.
Ina? All right. Okay. How can we do? Okay.
The other one.
Ina?
Yeah.
다시 달래. 되네. 다 들은. 들은 Rinpoche 고는 총가라 된 가서라. 독재와 진비고네 되네. 산두선도 넘바. 난리스. 되네 대인도다 가족게 다자 돌다 멋직동 나벼서 요요리 대게 찼다. 세네된 다다 김보 된진다 라마프니마. 되네 안에 다미 크리스티나 공남바가다 Menda Jimbu use, then I get Janso got the energy. Holland cheese.
So today, on Rinpoche's birthday, with great love for us, Rinpoche bestowed us the Bodhisattva vow, and we have had about 1,500 people following us on the live stream. So to represent all of you, now Khenpo Tenzin, Lama Purnima, Ani Dagme, and Christina are going to offer a mandala to Rinpoche. And while we do that, also please, the rest of you make your prayers.
Benzarazado de Nova, the Randra member was the Gaya member, the Bedia member was another member was our the Manda. Savakarma the Yang Guru Banga. Savada Dangada, Benzarama, Benza, Beza Baba, Samaya Zandova. Prayer book, page number 7. Oh, Linjan, Jende, Ramjan, Jansan, Ramjan, Jamzo, Yenge, Jorbezo, Malu, Loya, Lande, Berlana, Tenien, Dogon, Doje, Zonda, Dalu, Lonjo. Dogba Jin Jin Dang Pongkan Jin Jin Taryo Ndamenje Da Da Zombe Ngombo Jira Go Burje Danzin Yewa Zenje Lo Dai Ngmen Dale Yong Yen Jinga Nezan Robo Dai Jin Men se lende nelo mendar jo Purve jinsan je no ba zenje Oengara devandaiga Rena mendra la ba de zazo. Now dedication. Oh, so na da ya da ya za ba ya da na ya ba da na ba za da ye ga nam ya ba lo do ba ye Seben solen rowa rowa yo rogoin gewa jenye yo bada seda zejara deye zebada zambo jem dendre sabda la gune gunja zambo raja je da ye de zangewa nam gan da le je ben ro wa na la me de ma jen be ge yo ne ge zai ye de ze don je sa do yo je ya sa jo zhen je jian ge de da so zhen jian dam je je de sa da do ba ye ro ro zhen jian ma le ba Quân yong zo san je no ba yo ma den za ba la ma ram bo je da ge nian ga ra be me de yo ne ga de je ba go ne je zong ge ge zong do je za de zo la ma gong kan zang wa zo wan de cho da ge ze ren wa zo wan de le da ri so wan de la ma dan da wa me sen je lo pan dan yong we ne je ba 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 yo re ne ba da den ban den ba je ba na ge ze jiang zhen den je je ma jen bo da ye na dong ha de sem jian da je yo ga ba se wa san ye sa ye jian yo je so na do jian de ye de jian da go da ye na sen de zan ba don de ye wa je ye na da ye ba zan ba ye de ba yo jian ba 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 jian da jian ba da gun de zan bo de ya de ye de da da lo je ge wa da da dam je ra de mo de zan ye be je wa dam je mo wa gan la jo de ma ba de da ge za wa de go ja zang bo je za ra de mo wa je san je go san ye che la da je ye ma je ra de be je la da me se de be za la je da me ye mo de ba yo da da go de dam je de san da za wa da ye be ge be za wa de da da zhen jian dam jian yer da la na me yang da ba ra zo ba san je ram bo to ba ra je do je ja je de la na ro da ma ba ma la je je ngam bo ba pa mo de ba je wa de wa be ga je la ma na here you now we go through long leg pray.
오, 마치 그것들 다시들은 서로서 안 좋게 되는 무슨 세미남도 요래. 주도 넘버 3만 다시들은 그리고 세미남도 요래, 게임남도 고거래. 사적 셈지를 쇼를 삼아들이 사제 탐세양남도 차로 요래. 나지서 유모반을 가가 차르면 사적 셈이 지만 다들 냠도 차거요. 대다고 보면 무슨 냠도 요래.
So Dharma friends, thank you, Tashitele, and so whoever has bodhicitta in their mind, whenever you have bodhicitta in your mind, we are together. We are together, we hear each other's voice, and we cultivate bodhicitta. So then we are together. Only if we become afflicted, grasped by the self, then again we become separate. But the moment we cultivate bodhicitta, we are together.
Now, page number 26. Ma Emma Emma Gonzara Sanje Namanda Yeda Yeza Jovo Doje Jemboda Yeda Zambanda Jedona La Sanje Zanze Bame Gorjegam Deje Gonza Bada Me Baye Deva Jinye Zav Shengande Da Yeda Na Zembe Jerama Da Jeva Genje Brahma Chubara Tere Jena Nanda Yandong Yu Dege Doge Tabaye Sabja Sanje Zanzan Danje Je Keme Dabara Senje Labda Deya Na Manza Dai Kawa Bodha Na Yezo. One more English.
Ema Ho, in the center is the wondrous Buddha of boundless light. To his right is Chenrezig, the Lord of great compassion, and to his left is Vajrapani, the Bodhisattva of great might. They are surrounded by an inconceivable assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Immeasurable peace and happiness is the pure land of great bliss. When I and all beings pass from this life, may we be born in that land unhindered by another samsaric birth, and may we then behold the face of Amitabha, boundless light. May all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions bless this aspiration, that it may be accomplished without hindrance.
Everybody song God thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.